What just happened? I lost you. Oh boy.
Are you there, Tom?
Oh yeah. I see you.
Okay, yes, I guess it just let me pick back up right where we left off, I guess. But so, dude, let me see the setup we're here. You got yours. So this is your little studio?
Oh yeah. So I made this table.
There you go. Oh, that looks nice.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I got a pretty official microphone and
Yeah, dude, it looks good.
got all my art and stuff and
Is that a Woodstock?
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then the other one's Jimi Hendrix.
I see that, yeah.
Yeah. And then my girlfriend actually made me these beer mugs.
She made those?
Yeah.
How the hell did she make those?
Well, she made like the decal for it with
she got like a cricket or something?
Yeah. So it's name and stuff on it.
It's pretty sweet, dude. Have you had some guests on and stuff?
Yeah.
Did you ever do shows by yourself, or do you only do them with guests?
I do them with guests.
So they're all like interviews and stuff?
Yeah, you're frozen again.
Probably gonna happen a little bit.
Yeah. Oh yeah, there we go. But I have a lot of stuff I collect and buy for this. Like I got this cool axe.
Oh, that is sick. Where'd you get that?
It's called Northwoods Carving. They custom made it for me.
Oh, that's pretty sick, dude.
And I got this for Christmas.
See, now you're frozen for me. Oh, there we go. I see that. What, a growler?
It's a Stein, beer stein.
Oh, what the hell? That's nice. What's on that?
There's like a family crest thing.
Oh wow, that's where did they get that? Is it Deutschland? That's sweet.
It's called European Heritage Gifts.
Oh, that's pretty sick. They get it online?
Yeah, they must have.
Dude, that beard's getting wild, man. Oh, dude, it's huge. Yeah, I can't even. I'm 25. Can't even grow facial hair. I'm only 20. Yeah, there you go. Must be nice.
But all right, dude, what do you got for me?
All right, well, I usually do like an introduction, but this is a little different. I'm not used to this. I'm used to like that in person.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
So 2020 goes. We got everything's virtual.
Yeah, I'm not used to it though. I don't do much like on like virtual stuff.
No, it's probably something that hopefully we don't have to get, like people in general don't get too used to.
Yeah.
Hopefully it's just this year and then we're done with this shit.
Yeah, that's honestly my I don't see us ever going back to normal, but I don't see us staying the way we are.
I hope we go back to normal. I mean, my goodness, we just shut down the whole world forever, I guess.
Yeah, I don't
live under rocks.
But I think the way we are now, I don't think we can ever go back to like like the same kind of normal. Like it'll be a new kind of normal, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's gonna be a lot of people trying to get things to go that way, but I mean, I don't know. I feel like people should just, in general, should be able to be free enough to make their own decisions, assess their own risks, kind of do their own thing. And it's just kind of the government's job to protect you and make sure that your rights are protected. But I don't think it's their job to really tell you exactly how to live your life.
Yeah. It's kind of like, I tend to see like both sides of everything. So like, there's a point in, yes, we do need some kind of outline of where we need to, what we need to do, but we don't need forced into that because, you know, it's really that balance from the start of the country of government can't have too much power and the people can't have too much power. Because if people have too much power, it's chaos.
Absolutely. I think that's where the government just needs to be, like, you have to have people that can protect you. And that's why the government does a good job of making sure that we're protected and our rights are protected, because I think unanimously, the majority of sane, rational people have basically the same values. Like everyone would agree that murder is bad. Everyone would agree that stealing is bad. Private property is a great thing. We shouldn't impede on other people's rights. We shouldn't stop people from pursuing their freedoms and whatever they want to do. So I think the majority of people are going to agree with that. And when it becomes an issue to where other people are breaking that, that's when you need the government to step in and kind of make sure that the majority of people are able to do their things and go about their free lives. I think it becomes a problem when the government decides what's right for people.
Yeah, that's yeah. So I guess that's a good point what you're saying, like they are there to enforce and protect like everybody, like in the
Mhm.
sense. Some I feel like sometimes it can be overtaken now that they're doing too much to make I don't know. They're using their power as abuse, you know?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can look at all of history. Power does crazy things to people, just like money. So I
Yeah,
mean, you look at the what was it, the Stanford prison experiment? Have you
yeah,
seen that? Oh
yeah,
my gosh, you take normal people and you put them in a position of power. It is so easy for people to sit back and preach and be like, well, if I was president or if I was in Congress or if I was this or if I was that and I was in charge, you have no idea how you're going to react when you have or given all that power. And
yeah,
you are actually in charge of making decisions and and being that person. That's why I think it is such a fine line of, you have this power that you're giving a normal person. Like we all put our pants on the same way, and you're
yeah,
going to give this person all this power over your life. It's pretty dangerous. I mean, that's I don't know. I think that's why government should be run a little bit differently. I think we need to revamp some things, but I mean, I think our constitution is a great outline, but I think we might want to look at like some different things with maybe more rotation of power. So like putting on limits of like Congress people. Like I don't think a senator should be able to run for Senate and be the same senator in the same state for 30 years. If they're not getting things done, I think there should be kind of a cap. I mean,
yeah. Even not getting things done, but also in the sense of once you get to a certain age, your values become outdated, you know?
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I
Because society's always changing. I mean, you look at anything else like I mean, I'm in insurance, for example. Every year I have to do continuing education for my job. I mean, there's so many other jobs that you have to do that, but
yeah, like
Congress don't have to do that.
it's
They don't
yeah,
have to do
look at my
continuing ed.
I look at like my parents, grandparents, and all the older people around me, and I look at some of their values, and they don't stand the same as they did
Yeah,
20, 50 years ago. Like
things are always changing. I mean, there's always a sticking point with every generation has the thing that they were like stuck on, and
yeah,
I mean, it's changed. It always changes, and that's why I think that in general, like you said, I mean, values change over time. We have different things like that, but there's some core values that are always going to stay the same. Like stealing's bad, murder bad,
yeah,
and interfering with other people's property or other people's lives can be bad too. So I mean, it's just there's so many things that stay the same, some things that change, and the problem is too if you have a person that wants to be a congressperson or a senator and they're getting rich off of it, it doesn't really make sense because the term public servant shouldn't be I'm going to get rich off of this and be a wealthy person the rest of my life from doing this. It should be a sacrifice. Like you are a person that is making a sacrifice by being a public servant. I
yeah,
think like the word doesn't even make sense anymore. If you're going to call somebody a public servant in government, but then they're getting rich off of it, doesn't really sound like they're serving the public.
yeah. It's not. It's more. I mean, I don't know. I was thinking of something, and then I couldn't. I was trying to think and listen at the same time.
Yeah, yeah.
Got caught up. So like in the first part of that, um, gosh, now I'm lost. I do that sometimes. Like I'm trying to think about the
Yeah,
next thing, and then
yeah. Trying to think of the response or what you're gonna say, and then you're like, oh well, I forget what I was gonna say because I was listening.
yeah. But that's a great point. I mean, also I feel like a lot of people abuse powers, and even I think society. I think we become more reliant on a stronger government. I mean, we don't like I said, it's a catch-22 in the sense of when you're asking people for things like for the homeless and you're asking for people for help for people in need, people in poverty. Uh, you can't not have government in that sense because you otherwise you have to expect everybody to do the right thing, and not everybody's going to do the right thing. So
Absolutely.
in that sense, you need somebody to do it for you.
I totally agree with that. I think there is some things that government is absolutely needed for. But I think at the same time, usually when the government takes over something, and a privatized company or a privatized industry, I think always does better because they have different motives than if a government is running it. So whenever the government steps in too much, I think it becomes an issue. And because the government kind of just tries to throw around their pocketbook, and the government is so inundated with red tape and all these different things, they don't really get things done because it slows everything down. There's so many different channels that things have to pass through to get it done. But I mean, I think I think the government could do a lot of things better. We just need to revamp some things. I mean, you look at states like California, and they try to pass all this legislation for taxes and gun taxes and all these things with getting rid of gas-powered vehicle sales by 2035 or 2030 or whatever it is. All these different things, and they're focused on all these these virtuous things of helping the economy, helping the environment, all these different things. But in reality, they have horrible issues like homelessness that is completely like no one pays attention to it. And there's just the homelessness is so rampant in California. Instead of focusing on things like maybe the environment is great and we all need to focus on the environment, but you might want to take care of the people first that are currently alive, that are really struggling, and maybe helping with some housing and doing things like that, and really helping with stuff like that might eliminate some of the pollution, because homeless people pollute a lot because they don't have anywhere to live. So you go to one of those homeless camps or even see it on video, there's just trash everywhere, trash in the water and all those things. So I think it's we kind of need to reevaluate and realign kind of where we should be spending our time and our efforts, and kind of pinpointing things instead of dispersing it all over so many different issues and getting so little done at the same time. Instead of, you could focus more energy on one thing and really hit it hard and actually make a difference short term, and then change around what you're focusing on.
Yeah, it really seems also that government's intentions are a lot of times not pure. They don't actually want to do these things because they're good, but because they're getting a kickback for whatever it may be.
Yeah.
So
I
that's
would-
another thing that's not
It-
good.
that goes back to the term like public servant. The person in office should be, whatever the office is, local government, state government, federal government, it should be that they're trying to make a sacrifice in serving the public. That's why I have a big issue with career politicians. Like, if someone can come in and make a life out of this, it's probably because they're taking some sweetheart deals and they're getting some kickbacks and they're doing some things. And then now that it's their career, are they really concerned with what matters and what's best for the people, or are they just going to do what it takes to get reelected?
Yeah.
So if it means, if I'm a government official in a state and in my district, we do a lot with welfare programs and we give a lot of free stuff out. And then at the end of the day, I know that the people are kind of dependent on that, and we need to kind of get the people back revamped, and we might need to cut some of those welfare programs. And if you do that, you're not going to get reelected. So you making the right decision means you not getting reelected, and you're a career politician and this is your livelihood. You're probably not going to do that. You're probably going to do what it takes just to get reelected. And then you kind of have this agency problem where the government official is not doing what's really best for the people in general. They're just doing what's best for them to get reelected.
Yeah, I think a big part of the reason we're steering more towards a big government is because people don't want to work. They don't, you know, they want to show up when they want to show up. They want to have days off when they want to have days off. They don't want all that hard stuff and then not see the reward for a big long time. And I've been watching like your motivational Mondays and your videos and stuff. And I'm like, that makes a lot of sense. The delayed gratification. I listened to that and I was like, you know what? That's so true. And especially like younger people, they can't wait 5, 10, 15 years for something to happen. They can't put in that work and then not see
Yeah,
the results.
absolutely. We have an instant gratification culture, and it's scary because, I mean, when I talk to my grandfather or even my dad or people before them, it's back in the day, you usually didn't buy something or do something if you didn't have the cash for it. So like taking a loan was like, a lot, because people didn't like to owe people money back then. And I'm in business insurance, so I work with business owners all day, every day. And a lot of the older ones, they talk about, hey, when I bought my first house, obviously inflation's a lot different than, but when I bought my first house and it was X amount of dollars, that's the first thing I paid off. I had a 10-year loan, but I made sure I did it as quick as possible, just so I had that off my head. But I think the thought process is way different now. I think that we're kind of brought up in this generation where everything is now, 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 now. You got your cell phone. If you need to talk to somebody, talk to them now. If you want to text somebody or do something, you want to do it right now. Oh, I want to look that up right now. Anything is right now. So if you've got some extra money and you want to go buy a car and you probably don't know if you should make the payments, or now you're kind of stretching yourself out, just do it. I mean, treat yourself, right? Yeah. We have this mindset that you need to take care of yourself and do all these things. But in reality, people don't want to think long term and say, like, okay, if I treat myself now and I'm really cramming my finances or not eating healthy or whatever it is that you're trying to focus on and you want to be better at because you want to take care of it now, you're kind of hurting yourself in the long run. So like your future self is probably going to look back and be like, damn, wish we could have done that a little bit better.
Yeah, my stepmom always reiterated that to me. She was like, you know what, make the decision now that you're not going to regret. Like,
yeah,
don't hurt your future self just for something that you want now.
Absolutely. And I mean, you see it all over the place and everything. And I think it's a big reason why, like, a lot of people that we've gone to school with or whatever, they kind of end up in these tight situations because instant gratification feels really good. It feels so good at the time, but then the next day or the next week or a year or 2 years or 3 years, you look back and you're like, where the hell am I and how did I end up here?
Yeah.
And like the journey of 1,000 miles starts with the first step. So it's you get there eventually and you're going to look back and you're going to say, well, shit, I probably should have took a different path.
Yeah.
And that is one of the big cultural problems I have with where we are as a country right now. And from what you see on social media and everything, is just this idea that it needs to be now. We can't delay gratification. We can't put the work in. We can't do the hard stuff. We need it now.
Yeah. And that's kind of one thing I was thinking about getting into on this on this podcast with you. I was like, you know what? I can see that you work hard. More people need to. I think for me personally, like what I have learned in the past few years, especially, getting out of high school, getting into work and things, building myself up, is you need to really fall in love with the process. And
Yes.
those days that suck, you gotta love. Like, it's hard to see when you don't do it, but when you start actually falling in love with the process of, you're hitting that one rep and you're doing whatever.
Yeah.
And it just builds. But then you start to you're like, oh, this is what I should be enjoying. I think
Yes.
COVID has given people the opportunity to look back and actually see what they want to do and see how to enjoy certain things that seem like nothing.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think COVID has done let some people reevaluate what's important to them, what's important to their lives, and that sort of thing. But to fall in love with the processes, that's a huge deal. I mean, that's like, so right now I'm into bodybuilding. I'm on a really strict diet. I'm doing all this stuff. And I'll have friends or whatever say like, oh man, you can just cheat or eat whatever you want that day, whatever. You're still working really hard. And I'm like, no, it's not how it works. And because the delayed gratification, I could have that instant gratification of having a cheat meal now or doing whatever I want that's not on my diet. But I know what's going to feel really good is when I do the process right and I end up somewhere that I really wanted to be, and I can look back and say, hot damn, I put in all the work and it paid off and I got to this place and this is what I've accomplished. That is, I would trade that feeling for nothing. That is the best feeling, to put in the work and look back and just the great feeling that it is. But I mean, the saying easy come, easy go is so true. I mean, you give some person that won the lottery, like say they won $1 million, that money is pow, gone. You see some person that grinded and worked every day for $1 million, that money is going to make them so much more money because they know they worked for that money. That matters to them. They earned that. They worked for that. If you just give someone something, you watch them piss it away, just like anything else. You watch, everybody knows that snobby rich kid or something that, and or whatever. And then like even in movies and stuff, you see the kid, it's a stereotype that they got mommy and daddy's money and they just kind of do whatever. I mean, we see it all the time. We see it with guys and girls that kind of just live this lavish lifestyle and never really develop any skills or anything because they've always had everything handed to them.
Yeah.
And it's because, I mean, people just don't love the process anymore. They don't want to get better. They don't have a reason to grind, have some grit, and just actually, like you said, fall in love with the process will take you somewhere that you can't even believe where you'd end up. It's amazing.
Yeah, and it's not something that comes easy though,
Yeah.
You don't start off loving the process. You don't start like I love being bad at doing what I'm doing. No, nobody starts off like that.
Mhm.
Like I recently this year, the I think between March and May of 2020, I started getting into hunting.
Mhm.
Never been into it, nothing. And at first I sucked.
Yeah,
Terrible. I'm missing the target. I'm losing arrows and never finding them again. It's costing me money and I'm like, this sucks. Like I hate
yeah,
this. And then I just kept doing it because I knew what I wanted in the end was to be able to be self-sufficient and be able to get my own food. So, the whole summer I was out every other day shooting my arrows and, you know, learning everything I could about it so that I could be successful when season came up. And I did,
absolutely.
you know?
Yeah, but I mean, and you could have easily just gave up the first day, like, "Ah, this sucks. These arrows are not cheap, and these heads expensive. This is
Yeah.
a real pain in the ass. I'm just going to give up." And that's what people do. That's the tough thing, is that people do think that way. They have this defeatist mindset that it's never going to get better. I'm never going to get better. I should just quit now. It's like this voice we have in our head that's just trying to lie to you. It's like you're never going to get better, and that's just silly. I mean, you put in the hours to anything, you're going to get better.
Yeah, definitely. I
Yeah.
mean,
So it's,
this whole year I've really set out, in the past I've kind of done this too. I like to learn new skills every
mhm,
once in a while, I'll just add something new. And this year it seems I've taken on a lot. Like I started this podcast, I started hunting, I started woodworking, like I made this freaking beautiful table,
yeah,
honestly.
the table is awesome.
Yeah, and I've just been doing all these things. I'm like, I need to find something else. Like I need
Yeah,
to find the next thing. And once you get that one thing that you're good at and you find something new, you can just keep building. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
it, like when you were talking, you said it spills into the rest of your life, that mindset. And it does. You take it anywhere with you.
Yeah, it's the mindset is the hardest thing to come by. If you have your mindset right, you're going to go far in life. I mean, you can take whatever your definition of success is, you can get that through your mindset. And thing is, like you said, developing these skills and doing these different things and trying these hard things, it's great. But it's like, I don't know, people. I think I talked about one of my mindset Mondays about goal setting and how we build self confidence through goals. And I think a big issue that people have is they have this like this idea of like this dreams of grandeur of like how awesome this is going to be, and they're just going to show up there one day. Like, for example, like say you go see your favorite band performing, they got a killer lead guitarist, and you're like, that is awesome. I want to be like that guy. I'm going to learn guitar. You go out and buy a guitar and you start playing. You're like, I don't know what the hell a chord is. My fingers don't work like this. I can't play this guitar. And you just give up. And then your guitar sits in the corner and collects dust every day.
And he's been
It,
doing it since he's 7.
yes. Do you think that this person that is fantastic and loved by millions is because he's average? No, he did the things that other people weren't willing to do and developed the skill set that other people weren't willing to do because they don't want to put in the work because it's uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And no one wants to do something like you said. No one wants to go out and pick up a hobby like you said, hunting, and be like, wow, I really want to go out there and suck. I want to not get anything and I want to be terrible at this.
Yeah.
No one wants that. We want to go out there. We want to be the best. And I think, back to that instant gratification, it just kills us that there's someone out there better than us at it. So we're like, this just isn't our thing. We're going to try something else.
Yeah.
And it's like, just put in the work. And even if you're not the best, but you put in the work, you're going to feel damn good about it when you're done and you've gotten better and you feel good because you actually put in the work, and no one can take that away from you.
Yeah. There's nothing better than, you did something. I think the more hard work you put into something, the better you're gonna feel. Like you're saying this, but like it's so true. Like,
Yeah.
you put in 1 hour at something and you did great, it's not gonna mean much to you.
No.
You put in 20 hours, 30 hours on something, that's gonna mean a little bit more to you. And
Yeah.
the more you like, once you get to your goal and you've been working years on this, you've been building yourself up for years, and you finally hit that one thing that you've been trying for, it's gonna that's gonna feel great.
Yeah. It's just people just don't like hard stuff anymore. It's just sad because the rewarding things in life are the hard things.
Yeah.
I mean, to feel extreme joy, you got to feel extreme sadness. You got to know the opposite. For one to exist, the other one has to exist. So, like, for you to know the good times, you got to really know the bad times. So
Yeah.
there's going to be times when you're really freaking uncomfortable and you're trying something new. Like I'm sure it wasn't easy to step out and start a podcast and be like, okay, well, where do I even start? Like, I don't know what to do. Any new skill, you're like, I don't know, how do I even do this? Like, so you got to learn.
I have no public speaking experience or no conversation skills. Like, I've really learned a lot just from being able to like speak to people and drive a conversation in a certain direction and know what to say and know when to let somebody else speak. And it's,
I mean, it's funny because like we didn't script anything and we didn't be like, okay, let's get started. We just literally started talking and then it just kind of flows. Things come up, it just kind of goes. And that's the thing. I mean, I think you're doing a really good job, just talking to people. That's what people care about, I think, these days is like they want to listen to other people. Like what do other people think about? Am I the only person that thinks this way? Or like
you can be. There's not much that you can do that nobody else is into, really.
yeah. So I mean, it's an interesting thing. It's my biggest struggle personally. I moved to so when I finished up college, I it was like senior year of college, and I was hoping, I'm gonna make the NFL, whatever, get a chance in the NFL. And 2 weeks before our first game, I blow my knee out in practice. I dislocate my kneecap, tear my PCL, and they say I don't need surgery, and we're rehabbing and stuff. And then after 6 weeks, they're like, okay, well, you actually do need surgery. And it was just I ended up playing like 15 plays my senior year. Got a couple looks still from some teams. Went to like a camp thing, played some guys, and it was a 3-day camp. First day, I was like, man, I feel great. I still got a chance. Second day, I was like, this thing doesn't feel quite right. Third day, I could barely walk. I was like, time to hang up the cleats. It is what it is. And I started applying for jobs and stuff. And I got this job where I had to move to Minnesota for training. So I moved to Minnesota for 9 months, lived up there, lived through the winter. And then I moved to Beckley, West Virginia. Never been to Beckley in my life. It's about 2.5 hours from where I went to school. Never been here in my life. Don't know a single person. I have no idea what I'm doing. Move out here and get a place to live. And then a month to living here, COVID happens. Shut down all the restaurants, all the bars, everything. Churches are shut down, everything. I cannot make friends. I don't know how to make friends. I don't know what to do. So I'm left with a lot of alone time. Like a lot of time just thinking and doing my own thing and trying to work from home or whatever. But you get to this place where it's like, you struggle with these things because you feel like you're alone and you feel like you're the only person out there doing these things or whatever, trying to be better or whatever. But like at the end of the day, who gives a shit? Like if you're doing it alone and you're doing the things that matter to you and that you're passionate about, that's all that matters. So it gave me a chance, like you said, to fall in love with the process and to re-fall in love with that. Because when COVID was happening and all the gyms were shut down and nobody was working out, I went to the store, I bought everything I could, and I did everything I could from home. I did all I could. I was still trying to lose weight at that point, cutting weight, and it did not stop me at all. I got down in weight, hit my goals, and then started bodybuilding when the gyms opened back up and stuff. But it was a chance for me to fall back in love with the process and be like, reevaluate. Why the hell am I doing this? Why do I want to do this? Why does this matter to me?
Yeah.
Should I keep doing this, or no one else is doing this, or like whatever? And it was tough at first, dude. But being in an uncomfortable situation like COVID put us all in, gave everyone an opportunity to look in the mirror and be like, life is kind of finite and it's pretty short.
Yeah.
Am I doing what matters to me? Am I pursuing the things? Am I giving it my all? In 5 years from now, if I looked in the mirror, would I be happy with where I was or who I saw? And it just kind of gave me a, this kind of wake up call, like you're doing the right things, but why? Why are you doing these things? And it kind of gave me that ability to just fall back in love with that process. Don't have a gym partner, don't have any friends. Just why am I doing this? And just to keep doing it for myself. And then I don't know. I just feel like what a waste of a life if you go through life not seeing what you're capable of.
Yeah.
Just being that average person, like, oh, what he was a pretty good guy or whatever. It's like, oh, I didn't really know him that well, or he was all right. Like, well, what did he do? Like, oh, nothing. Didn't really care about anything. Just went home, sat on the couch, watched TV every night. Like, I can't deal with that.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of people that can. I think
And
another point you brought up is it gave people time to reevaluate and reflect, and I think those are some things that are very important in my life. Like, a lot of people are doing that now because it's the end of the year, but I tend to do that a lot. Like
yeah,
sometimes at the end of the day, I'm just reevaluating the day and reflecting on that, and it'll go into weeks, and I'll sit down like every Sunday, and I'm like, all right, here's what happened last week. Here's what I got done. Here's what I didn't get done. That kind of sucks, but I guess I got another day tomorrow. I got another week next week, and
yeah.
I can plan for the next thing. But you need to sit down and look at what you're doing, or you're never gonna know. You're not gonna realize what you're doing until you stop and just take a second. And
Until it's too late.
yeah,
And then you've already walked and you've just been walking and it's too late. And like you said, you need to meditate, whatever it is, reflect, meditate, think on your life or what you're doing, where you want to be. And I've been really bad about that. And I kind of fell into the rat race where I'm a sales guy. I'm in sales and I'm always just chasing sales, trying to sell stuff, trying to be the best, putting in all the hours. And my time when I'm not in the gym or not working out or not working, I have little gaps of time, and instead of reflecting and stuff, I spend time on this damn thing, like on my cell phone. And I'm like, why am I doing that? And so that thing's kind of been like my enemy for a while. And then
is an enemy, honestly. For me,
yeah, and
I think for a lot of people, but especially for me, like it shows you your screen time every once in a while, like you
yes,
pay attention, and it'll pop up, and you're like, dang, I spent 6 hours this week, like 6 hours, sometimes a day,
yeah,
and I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I know I'm not making money off of it. I know I'm not finding like some significant happiness off of that. I'm not getting any new skills off of sitting watching other people on Facebook or
they're
anything.
just killing time.
Yeah, honestly, and that's
So
always the battle with me, and I always set limits and try to stay within that. And
yeah, it's going to be a constant battle. I mean, there's always going to be a battle within yourself, like what matters with your time and stuff. I'm sure there was distractions before there were phones, like there's other things to do or whatever, but
yeah,
just trying to find a point, like you said, to reflect and meditate. And like for me, it's been visualizing. So like every day when I do my cardio, I work out 6 days a week and I do cardio 6 days a week. So I do 30 minutes of cardio and I'll literally just close my eyes and just envision where I want my life to look or where I'm going to be. And I try to think about like what I want to accomplish with what I'm putting the work in for. Like, so I'm in bodybuilding. I'm envisioning like when I step up on stage and I compete, and I'm trying to think of like the smells and the sounds and all the things that would make me there and like make me really feel it. And I'm trying to think about all the work that went into it and all those things and how it's going to feel when I'm at the end and when it really matters. And when I put in all that work, how it's going to be worth it and why I should keep working.
yeah,
And then I can also think like, am I doing enough? Like, am I doing the things? Am I being disciplined enough? Am I following the steps? Or am I going to give myself an excuse when I don't make it to look back and be like, well, if I actually would have just done that extra set or not cheated on that day when my friends told me I should, then maybe I would have actually been better. So that's what I'm just not willing to give in. I'm not willing to sacrifice now. I mean, not sacrifice now and fall victim to that and regret it later. So the visualization has been great for me, like thinking, reflecting, and visualizing how I'm going to end up where I want to end up.
yeah. I think a couple of things is there's definitely like there's hard days for everybody. I mean, I know you see hard days, and sometimes there's days that you do give up, and you have to crawl back from that, You gotta be like, dang, that was a bad day. We can't have that again. Like tomorrow
Yeah.
we're gonna go twice as hard just because we messed up. We made that one mistake.
And I, I love that you said that. And I think one of the bad mindsets that people have now is like, they look on it and just like, oh, it was just a day for yourself or whatever. It's like, it's okay to point out to yourself when you were lacking. Like, it's okay to say, you know what, I wasn't good enough that day. I need to be better. It's okay to feel that way. It's okay to address that with yourself. It's not okay to just say, oh, well, it was just a mental health day or whatever. You just needed that. No, it's yes. I get it. You were tired, you were fatigued, you're depressed, whatever it was that day. But acknowledge that you need to be better, and acknowledge that you're going to fix it the next day. Don't lie to yourself and paint you this picture like, oh, it's just all okay or whatever. Like, it's just a bad mindset. It's a dangerous mindset to fall into, to
Yeah, there's
think that way.
there's another bad mindset though. There's a bad mindset is that one day that you have, that's the end of everything you put in. There's
Oh
people
my gosh,
they
yes,
don't dig themselves out of the hole. They just quit. And
yeah,
you're about New Year's resolutions happens every year.
yep.
People,
Every year you watch people fall off.
yeah,
And I think a lot of it is, like I said before, is like they come up with this huge goal and this huge idea, and then they can't keep to it. So like if if it's your first time getting into fitness or working out, say you want to lose weight, and you're like, I'm going to go to the gym 7 days this week. What? Why would you set that goal? It's going to be so. If you've never worked out before, you're going to be so sore. You're going to be miserable. You're like, this sucks. Why does anybody do this?
yeah,
It's the same thing if you set a goal like if you eat fast food every single day, and you're like, I'm not going to eat fast food anymore whatsoever for the whole year. It's like, let's not be ridiculous. Like, let's set some goals here that are attainable, hit those goals, and then once you start getting some momentum, feed it into the next week or the next week, and then start upping your goals. Hit these little goals first so you can build some self-confidence.
yeah,
Like, I'm going to go to the gym this year. Okay, I want to lose 30 pounds this year. How do I do it? Okay, I probably need to go to the gym. Okay, how often should I go to the gym? I'm going to start going to the gym twice a week to start. Okay, great. Easy enough. Go 2 times this week, a couple weeks. Okay, I'm going to bump it up to 3. I feel pretty good. Okay, go 3 days. I'm going to bump it up to 4. And then all of a sudden, you've got this habit and you're starting to enjoy the process because you're starting to see the results over time. And it's reinforcing what you're doing. But if you set out the first week and you're like, I'm just going to go to the gym every single day for the next 365 days, you're going to be miserable after the first week. And you're going to be like, this doesn't make sense. I don't get how people are fit. I don't want to do this. And then you're going to fall right off.
yeah. I think another good point is I don't feel like setting big goals, or setting something really hard, setting the bar really high, and making this huge goal. I don't think that's bad. I think it's good to have big,
Mm-hmm.
but I also think it's good to work back. And how do you get to there? How do you,
Yes.
how do you, so you want to go to the moon, but how do you get to the moon? You got to build these steps and you got to work up through them. And it's not all going to happen picture perfect. That's another thing that people get stuck on is they think everything is going to happen the way they planned it to be. And
No.
they don't plan for change. There's constant change. They don't plan on their grandma talking to them for 3 hours while they were trying to work out and they need,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. Absolutely.
like
And
all those little things come up and you don't plan.
yeah, and like you said, I don't want you to think that I don't think dreaming big is not what you should do. I'm talking about process goals. So like, say you want to lose weight, how's my goal gonna happen? I need to lose 50 pounds this year. Okay, I'm gonna go to the gym 7 days a week. I think that's where people shoot themselves in the foot because their process goal is too challenging
Yeah,
for where they're not going to be able to meet it, and then they're going to build this defeatist mindset because they're not going to be able to live up to the goal that they set for themselves or the expectation. So like my goal is I want to be a professional bodybuilder one day where I get a professional pro card. So I mean, you compete, you win, you get a pro card. Um, that doesn't mean that it's my livelihood. It just means that I'm able to compete in certain events. So that if you tell somebody that and you're not a bodybuilder right now and you just say like I'm going to be a professional bodybuilder, they're going to be like, no, you're not. You're not going to put in the whatever. So I have that big goal, but what are my process goals? Like you said, like how are you going to get there? Like you want to go to the moon, how do you get there? So you got to have goals. And like my goals are, very well set with my meals, my workout days, all this stuff, my rest days, all these things are set to guide me along the way, because I know it's one of those things that if I'm in love with the process, I'm going to get there just by following it. I don't know when I'll be ready, but I know that if I follow and do what I'm supposed to, I will eventually end up there.
Yeah.
And the only person that's going to get in my way is myself and my mindset. So if my mindset goes bad and I start thinking negatively, that's going to derail me before something else.
Yeah. I think for myself, I have like this 3-step kind of process that I go through. And it's like, you have an idea, okay? And I think about this a lot. I think everybody has ideas, right? You have
Mhm.
something you want or whatever it is, you have an idea. That's easy. Everybody has that, right? And then the second part of it is the action that you have to follow up with the idea. Ideas are nothing without an action. So the action is hard is it gets harder with each step, Your action, not a lot of people are gonna not the same amount of people that have ideas are gonna do the action on their ideas, you know. I wanna make a table, that's just an idea until you actually start making your table. And then
Absolutely.
I think the third part of these steps is I can't even think. The reflecting, the innovation, the making it better. How can I
Mhm.
do this better next time? Or how can I make this better now? But I think not too many people do that at all. They just see
I-
they did something and they either failed or they succeeded, and that's what they're going to continue to do.
So why do you think that people don't take action? Like, we all have ideas. So what do you think separates a person that takes action and a person that just kind of lets it just go? Lets it go in one ear and out the other, their thought just disappear.
It's either not important or they don't think they can or they're just lazy. I mean,
Do you think that people are inherently lazy and they're just born that way, or do you think that people just decide not to do things because of this idea that they think they're going to fail?
a little bit of both. I think it's a choice, but it's also, depending on how you're raised, depending on what struggles you faced in life, that's definitely going to have a big impact on you.
I totally agree. So I think that people in general, the majority of people that I meet that I really look up to or that I've met and I talk to them, they've gone through something tough in their life, and it's kind of shaped their mindset of how things are going to be different or how they can be different to things. I mean, like, I've been through tough stuff in my life, and I know that that's why when things go wrong, it's easy for me to be like, okay, we're going to stay calm. I've been through before, so this is something tough. Let's provide a solution instead of losing our minds and
Yeah.
just giving up. Let's think of a solution and a way to overcome this instead of just being like, that's it. Everybody's out to get me. My life sucks, whatever. It's very easy to make excuses for yourself and to feel bad for yourself. And it's just tough because a lot of people will do that. They'll fall into that. Something bad, tragic will happen in their lives, and they'll throw in the towel.
Yeah,
And
or they, one thing that really irritates me, gets under my skin is blaming it on something, You pointing the finger somewhere, It's because of my mental illness. It's because my parents never did this for me, or uh,
mhm,
they did this way, and it's because somebody else stole it from me,
yeah,
That's
absolutely.
that's the most frustrating thing. And I don't know why people I don't understand why you point the finger when you could just say, "Here's how I change it."
Yeah. I mean, I don't know either. I know that I've been there though. I know it's tough. I've been on both sides of it. I know that there was a time in my life where I played the victim card, where I felt bad for myself. And I know that. I don't know how you make the switch. I don't know. I don't know where the day just kind of goes off and you have something happen and you say like, that's it. Like, why am I living like this? I don't know what it is. I wish I could help more people solve it. I mean, like, I've been through a lot of stuff in my life, and And I know I've been through low points, and I had to make some decisions about how I'm going to fix things based off of my decisions. I kind of was that person that started this journey down the wrong path. And then I got there, and I was kind of, I had a moment where I looked up in the middle of this journey, and I'm like, where am I going? I'm not going the right way. This isn't what I envisioned for my life. I'm making bad choices. I need to backtrack. And it was a moment like, I had to realize some things in my life that I wasn't doing the right things, and I was making bad decisions, and I needed to reevaluate. And
Yeah,
unfortunately, some people don't get that moment where they stop and pause.
that's I think for a lot of people, you have to hit rock bottom. That's you have, and everybody's rock bottom is different, and some people never come out of it. That's a hole you got to dig yourself out of. And I've definitely been there. I remember my exact moment of when I was like, this is enough. And it was, this is enough and I need help. I was sleeping in my car in the Walmart parking lot, and I was selling drugs and couldn't live at home. My mom had kicked me out at 16, and I was like, I need help. Like, I'm not getting to anything right now. And, I got some help along the way, and it drove this mindset of, wow, look where I came from. Look, I could have been in jail. I could have been dead. I could have been anywhere, but I had
Mhm.
to take myself out of that hole.
Yeah, that's the thing, is like that shapes your character. Like being able to come out of something like that, it really does shape your character. And
Yeah.
it's tough, man. I know that with me, it was, things were good in life. I mean, when I was in high school, I played for a local high school where I grew up in Deerfield, and I was really good. And I transferred to Massillon my sophomore year so I can get better looks. And my dad worked at the hospital there, and we lived in a good house. And things went good for 2 years. And right before I left for college, my dad got diagnosed with leukemia, and I was moving 4 hours away, already committed, already signed. And I was like, "Hey, Dad, I want to transfer back to Akron or Kent State, be close." He said, "No, we're not doing that. You gave him your word. You got to go." So I went, and then it was, 2 years of me being in college, trying to play college football, do these things, and then try to go home on the weekends to see my dad, who's battling leukemia, and he's dying. I mean, he was struggling, and he went from 230 pounds to 153 pounds,
Yeah.
and he wasn't a small guy. He was 6'4", so he wasn't like fat. And so seeing that and dealing with those things, and then it became to the point where I was in college and I was playing football and stuff, and I was, turning to drugs and alcohol and self-medicating and feeling bad for myself, that why would this situation happen to us? We're good people. Like, why is this happening to my dad? Why am I dealing with this? And then he passed away in my sophomore year in college, and I kept going down that path. I felt bad for myself. I felt sorry for myself, and I was doing drugs and drinking all the time. And I remember there was a point in the summer that I couldn't go to sleep at night without having a few drinks, like
Yeah.
liquor. And at all times, I had liquor in my bedroom, and it was just. And then finally, what happened, I think, was I failed a drug test for the school and for football, and had to see a person. I had to see a counselor for a year, and she sat me down and talked to me, and I was like, this is stupid. Like, why am I coming to this? And then, like, after a few times, like, she sat me down and she's like, "Nate, I think you have a mood disorder." And I was like, "What do you mean?" And she's like, "I don't know. I think you might. I think I want to recommend you to your team psychiatrist." And I ended up getting diagnosed bipolar and stuff, and then it was like a whirlwind of another year and a half of me trying to figure things out. Of like, I mean, am I going to really let this define me? Like, I'm going to make decisions based off of this.
Yeah.
And I just decided eventually, like, rock bottom, enough is enough. Like, I've put myself in this hole. I felt sorry for myself for way too damn long. I'm going to figure this out. And I mean, luckily for me, I had some people in my life that were willing to invest in me, and for my faith. I'm a Christian, and my faith has got me through a lot of things in life, and that was one of them. Being able to turn to that and grow my faith and realize that I have a purpose in life and grow that way got me out of that hole. And it was a tough fight, for several years, but like, I, I don't honestly, I don't think I would trade that.
Yeah, I look back at some of the moments that really defined who I am, and I'm like, that sucked. That was I wouldn't wish that upon my worst enemy. But you know what? It's got me to where I am. It's got me to
Yeah,
this mindset. It's got me to the people that helped me through. It's made me realize who they are. And the people who didn't, when I was going through all these rough times, there was people, but then there was people that just faded away. That they didn't want to stick with you through all these things. They did their own thing. They
yeah.
didn't have to worry about your problems.
You always through the tough times, you find out who your friends are. You really do. You find out who the people are that are close to you, who the people are that matter to you, and who the people are that will really, do anything for you. And that's one thing that I'm really passionate about is just, be there for somebody, help somebody out that needs you. And I mean, one of my all-time best friends, um, he came to Marshall and he was a walk-on, and our coach was real rough on him and wanted him it was real tough on him about losing weight and stuff. He's an offensive lineman, and he wasn't going to let him go home one weekend. I mean, not one weekend for a holiday. He wasn't going to let him go home.
No,
And I called our coach and I was like, this is bullshit. Like, this guy puts in the work and stuff just like everybody else. He's learning. He's young. And he ended up staying. And I think that was like a defining moment where he got to go home for the weekend and stuff. And me and another guy fought for him to go home. And the kid decided to stick it out. And he lived on my couch for 2 summers and stuff because he was a walk-on still, and let him live with me. And like I said, he's one of my best friends. And this fucking year, pardon my French, this guy's an All-American, second team All-American Division I football from a walk-on. Like, that kid melts my heart. He's literally my all-time best friend. And just seeing the work and the mindset and that you can put in and you can achieve, and how things could have been different if me and this other guy wouldn't have stuck up for him. If it would have been one of those things where people would have just watched him throw things away because he didn't have people that believed in him. Like, how many people are there out there that could have been great if someone else had just stuck up for them and helped them through something, or came to their side when they really needed it? How many people does it take to watch? How many people do you have to watch hit rock bottom on their own, and hopefully they get out of it? Hopefully they dig their way out. Because I think if we took a little bit more responsibility for our peers and the people around us, we would have a hell of a lot less problems than we do in this country. But I think a lot of it is people just want to live their own lives, and they don't care if their neighbors suffer. And it's sad.
That's something I think has definitely faded within the past. Like, it's gotten worse and worse over the years. I'm sorry. I put a lot of respect, and I put a lot of time into grandparents and older generation people, like my great aunts, great aunts and uncles, and all my family, and even other people. I visited a nursing home. I'm part of a local organization, and we give back to the community. And I sat one day, we were handing out Valentine's Day cards this past year, and I'm talking to this lady. We're supposed to just be handing out cards. I was talking to her for like 30 minutes, and I was like, geez, this is a long, like, yeah, I think it was probably like an hour, honestly. I'm sitting in this lady's room talking to her, and I put a lot of importance because what they have to say is definitely things you can learn from. They've lived a long time. But
and experience is the best teacher.
Yeah, and we're not as neighborly, we're not as friendly, we're not as willing to help as they were back in the day, from what I know. And it gets worse. Like, it's getting worse. Like, from when I was a kid to now, it's already gotten worse.
I think a lot of it is just the information we're taking in. I mean, I don't know. Everything we watch on TV, everything we listen to on our phones, everything is like, I don't know. I think people in general trusted people a lot more back in the day. And you just had this idea that people cared about each other and they were going to take care of each other. I mean,
I mean,
People, they lived through some hellacious times. I mean, your grandparents, my grandparents lived through the Great Depression, World War One, World War Two. I mean, World War One, the Great Depression, World War Two, the Korean War, the Vietnam War. They lived through all these different things and these different economic crises and these different things. And they had too much shit going on to be dicks to each other. You've got too much adversity and too much other stuff coming at you from that you can't control. Why would you be rude to your neighbor? Why would you be mean to the people around you? Why would you not take care of them?
we have this outlet that makes us do nothing and waste our time. Nobody, I mean, I guess people had that back in the day, but it's like now we have all these outlets, like, my mom grew up in the first game that came out is Pong, like she was a young kid when that, yeah, I guess, well, she would have been in her teens probably when that came out. First game is Pong. That's going to eat up like maybe an hour of your time. Now we got all these things that you can do, and you're not even in this same world. And I listen to like Joe Rogan podcast a lot, and he has all these like scientists and famous people that studied these things and inventors, and he's like, there's a world that we're going to be living in where we're not living in this world, either digitally or we're going to discover something.
Yeah.
That's almost scary. No human interaction in real life.
And I don't know, maybe there's so many different theories. Like, I mean, maybe that's what they're prepping us for. Maybe that's why they want to keep distancing and all these different things. They keep slowly closing things and moving us into working virtual, and all these big companies are part of that. I don't know. I mean, that stuff in general is scary, but I mean,
if it is what it is, you have to kind of roll with it, but you don't have to. You can be on the outside, but you have to have a big influence to be able to do something about it.
I mean, the problem, there's so many different problems in general. I mean, the people control everything. So like, if the people want something done, it's going to get done. The problem is uniting the people.
Yeah.
And you have everything against that. I mean, you look at every media outlet, they push divides on the daily, constantly. And people get brainwashed by it because all they ingest and all they watch and all they listen to. And you think about, like, how does the news make sense? Like, why would they're obviously not doing that for an agenda. They're just doing it because it's the news. And it's like, well, that doesn't really make sense, because they could easily talk about a lot of positive things all the time, but they don't. And the reason is because that doesn't sell. What sells is fear and panic and anger, and people are going to watch things that kind of get them fired up because they disagree with it. Like, well, that's stupid or whatever. Because I don't know if it kicks on some endorphins, it makes you feel good that you think you're right and high and mighty or whatever it is. I don't know why people think the way they do. I'm not a psychologist, but I do know that the media pushes a divide because they push things that are inflammatory, because it sells and it gets people to watch and it gets people to click, and it gets people that you see all these clickbaity materials on the internet now too, is because they're just trying to do anything they can to get views. If they start going down this path of positivity, no one's going to watch it. They're going to be like, I don't care. It's just great. Awesome. I love how nice people are. No one's going to watch it. They're going to just go about their lives today because everything's so nice. But I mean,
so are you saying what we're doing is pointless?
What'd you say?
Are you saying what we're doing right now is pointless almost?
No, I think real conversation is a good thing. I think that's why Joe Rogan's podcast is so popular. You can just get on there and you can listen to this guy, like Joe Rogan says all the time. He's not a brainiac. He's just a normal dude who worked really hard and took his lumps and stuff in comedy and had some breaks after working his ass off. And he just talks to these people that have different thoughts about things, and he does not discriminate. And that is my favorite part about the show, is that he will have people on there that he doesn't necessarily agree with, and he'll just talk to them. And why can't we do that in everyday life? Why can we all not do our own Joe Rogan show, where you just have a conversation with someone that has different values, different mindsets than you, and then you can both grow from it? But instead, we play this game of, I hate you, I can't ever talk to you because you agree with that one thing. That is the silliest mindset to have.
I'm right, no matter what, I'm right and you're wrong. That's stupid. Like, there's one thing I learned when I was briefly in college is a good argument is you have to be able to listen, and the goal of that argument is coming to the best conclusion, not being right.
Yeah, no, because I mean, an argument, you can be wrong, you can lose an argument.
Yeah.
But I mean, just being able to accept that is the impossible part we're facing in our society, is that people will not agree to disagree even. Like, I'm okay too with like, hey, if we have a certain topic and we start talking about it, it's like, listen, I just don't see it that way. Okay, we'll agree to disagree. That's fine. I'm not going to hate you because of it. I'm not going to be like, I could never speak to you ever because of how you view that thing. And be like, well, that is just silly.
Yeah, you got to realize there's a reason that everybody sees things a certain way. And I think another thing is we're not we're not willing to compromise.
No.
There's no compromisation. There's not, oh, global warming is a real thing, or global warming is not a real thing, or it's not important, or it is really important. Maybe there's a fair ground in the middle for everybody.
Hmm.
That makes sense.
I don't think that, I think people just aren't willing to have the conversation. And I don't know if it's because I don't think people aren't intelligent. I think that most people are born with they have cognitive abilities to think and discern and know right from wrong. I think it's just so much of it is your socioeconomical position, where you brought up and how you were raised and what your economic status was, and all these different things that factor in your life where you're going to have these thoughts and how you're going to think in your different processes. I don't think it's necessarily wrong, but I think people need to be more reflective and realize why they think what they think, and kind of take some time to use some logic and break things down and be like, okay, well, I think this. Does this make sense? Why does this make sense? Why do I feel this way? Do I defend this, or can I be taught some new information that might change my mind? But I think we're just too proud that even if someone does make a point that would change your mind, you're probably not going to acknowledge it. You're just probably going to be like, no, that's not right. But somebody could say something, you'd be like, really? I didn't even know that. And they'll be like, yep, this is actually true. And you'd be like, huh, that's a good point. Maybe I do think that way. But no one thinks that. No one talks that way anymore. It's just,
you got to be willing to change. You got to be adaptable. And I think I don't even know if I want to get into this, but I feel like school doesn't also teach us. They shift us in a certain way of thinking.
I would totally agree with that. I think that schools have an agenda and they're going to press their agenda. I mean,
Not even intentionally. I don't even know if a lot of times it's intentional or who it's intentional from.
I think it's more. Yeah, my computer died on me. It didn't even give me a warning.
Wow.
But yeah, dude. Well, I think we've talked about some good stuff, but I've got to get off here soon. I can't even believe that it's already 8 o'clock. We've been talking for about an hour and a half.
Yeah, it really does go quick. You get half the time I'm looking and 20 minutes goes by and it feels like we've been talking for a minute.
It's been good conversation. I mean, I've really enjoyed it a lot. You'll have to have me back another time.
Yeah, definitely. You want to give any shout outs before you
go? Yeah, shout out to some of my buddies. My buddy Kane Madden, the one that is the All-American this year, second team AP All-American. So that's voted on by coaches in the country. Pretty freaking sick, from walk-on to All-American. And he has a year left. So big things coming from him. And I'll say shout out to my Instagram page if anybody wants to follow it. It's at the ChuckDaddy. Probably need to work on a new name there, but that's like my gamer tag, and that was a name that one of my buddies called me at one time in college, and it just kind of stuck because my middle name's Charles. Some guys called me Chuck, and it just kind of stuck one day. And I was like,
I think it fits you. I think
yes. So I've kept that. So that's my name on there. But if anyone wants to give me a follow, watch for some workout tips and just mainly my mindset stuff, and just kind of have some conversations into the camera a lot.
Yeah. Well, follow ChuckDaddy.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah. All right, man. I'll see you.
All right. Talk to you soon.